Alright, let's see if this works this time. Appears to be. I had to shut down my computer and restart it because I had a cascading failure thanks to a short in my microphone. The old Mimic mic is getting a bit old in the tooth. But he appears to be working okay. Oh, cool. I've got a short stream cropped version of me showing up on the OBS, well, on the YouTube studio. That's weird. So I'm going to have to stay very still. Just pop out the chat so I can see what you're saying. And then we can get into it. All right. Good morning, Nothic. I'm going to have to get closer to the camera. Hopefully my microphone is not going to die on me. Don't die on me, microphone. If at any point you stop listening, stop being able to hear me, just let me know. I can actually see I'm okay though. So it should be all right. Hey, Cohen is the man. Good morning. Hey, Volps. Good morning. Yeah, it's a new live stream. Percival Pascal, nice to see you. Aaron Big, nice to see you again. Ben C, hello. Old Gabe, hello again. Zezaballs, happy to be alive with my bros. Yeah, true. Hey, Moondog Martian. An AJ stream, it is. Hey, Richard. Daniel Howie, nice to see you. Yeah. Yes, an ever-increasing amount of lore and an ever-increasing amount of cheese. Yes, that's right. It's a cheese stream, so I'm going to be eating a... this is a Capiti Bold Blue, an Awa Bold Blue, strong and crumbly, with a distinctive bite. They're not joking when they talk about the bite. Now, in some circles, this would be considered a poison, but not here. I'm going to take it completely out of the wrapping so you can see all of its rotted glory. Making sure that none of the juice spills on any surface, because it will never come out. Woo. Let's smell it from here. So here we have it, my friends. I'm not sure what that dark orifice on the side of it is. But yeah. Larlock meets Trazen. Who is Trazen? I know who Larlock is. Thanks for that, Morgan. That's right, it is a monetized stream. All proceeds go towards feeding me, essentially. So more live chats, super chats, more cheese. Here we go. It doesn't help that the flavor is concentrated in the tip of the cheese. Oh my god. That's as tasty as a possum that's been sitting in the sun for 2 days. Wow. Layers of offensive qualities. Crystallization of the actual mold itself. Wow. Very creamy texture. Going in for another bite. Yeah, it's a 9.8 on the cheese scale. Possum cheese. I'm not sure if it's crystallization from the cheese itself. I actually think it's a mold forming pockets. So I'm not sure what that's called. Residue. Wow. Don't eat that on a date, fellas. I now have a breath weapon. Oh. Cheese. Trazen from 40k. Oh, I see. That's why I don't know. I know a lot about 40k, Warhammer 40k, but I don't know everything. Hey, Genetic Memory Farms. I do hope that everybody's safe, and if that is your way, stoned. Oh, he's a Necron Lord. Right. Collecting stuff. Yes, this is originally a blue Yeti. You can't see it on the shorts feed, but yes, it has been decorated using green stuff and paint to look like a mimic. Hence it is the mimic mic. It is about, I don't know, 6 years old? 5 years old? 6 years old? No, yeah. Cheese mold included, I imagine. I think most people are somewhat allergic to mold. It's a good thing to be allergic to. Mold is not your friend. Good name for a dungeon. The layers of offensive qualities. Yes. Yeah, it is winter here. Definitely winter. Woke up this morning. It was in the minus. We had a frost. I looked out on the field, the cricket and rugby fields over there, and there was a fog layer about yay deep. It was very picturesque, but frigidly cold. Cat would not go outside. He has been doing his job lately, though. The neighbour has reported that her macadamia nuts were untouched by rodents this year, and he has brought in no less than 4 rats and 2 mice this month. So he is earning his chicken. Sinks in and stays. Applewood smoked cheddar on my burger for dinner. Very nice. That does sound nice. Hey, Dr. Banana. I have been here. I've been working away, bringing you the lore stuffs. My complete guides video series seem to be doing very well. I was absolutely stunned at how well the gelatinous cube video did. I think it got something like 20,000 views so far, and that's been magnificent. Yeah, so they shall continue. The complete guide to firearms was mostly for me because I'm doing a nimble campaign and I wanted to research firearms and stuff because I just put some firearms in the game, and so it was my topic of interest, and I thought other people might be interested in as well. I know it's not a hot topic, generally speaking, but for those who want to put firearms in the game, I thought some good stats and stuff and talking about it would be okay. This video that I just put out a few hours ago is the complete guide to poisons. Now, not only is there the 20-minute video talking about where the poisons come from, the whole infrastructure behind alchemy and assassins guilds and all that sort of stuff, the controlled, regulated use of poisons, physical poisons, also talking about magical poison, spell poison, scrolls, magic items and things like that. Some notable examples and things. I didn't want to clutter up the video with the 118 examples of poisons from the Forgotten Realms, so I put them all into a PDF that you can go to my Substack or to my Discord server, and it's a free download. Anybody can access it, and it is a collected. All of the information that's relevant in the wiki is squeezed into those entries, and there's 118. I think it's 118 different poisons, all sourced from all sorts of source books and Dragon magazines and adventures for the Forgotten Realms. There may even be a few that are also from Greyhawk and stuff like that. So yeah, plenty of poisons for you to shake a stick at. I also talk about in the video about how the damage category of poisons has changed quite a lot over the editions. It started off with a flat damage rating system from A to XX, and also S and P for sleep and paralysis. And X means you get 10 hit points per round until you die or save, and XX means you don't save, you just die. Instant kill. And I'm in favor of poisons which instantly kill you. Not necessarily ones that stop your campaign in its tracks, but ones that, just rewards incautious characters at critical points of the games with death. Hey, thanks, Daniel Howie. Look forward to your next statistics vid, AJ. Stay fed and keep up with the good work. Thank you very much. Yep. Yes, this last month and next month is sort of back to normal income-wise. At the start of the year, just as a refresher for your memory, YouTube did some weird things with its analytics and its background algorithms. It was really, really promoting YouTube Shorts. The AI blitz was absolutely devastating a lot of long content channels like mine. And that happened over, and they also had a lot of analytics errors where we had really strange reporting and audience numbers over days and days of the month, which had everybody very concerned, because that usually means that they're doing stuff in the background, vibe coding their way through it, and they don't really know what's going on. They just, what happens when executives get AI pilled and they just decide to dump AI on everything, and then the AI follows the trends and runs rampant into social media blitz and doom scrolling, which is not good, because the shorts format is no good for advertising, and advertising is the bread and butter of what keeps YouTube going. And if long format channels start to wink out of existence because we can't compete for views with short content, then YouTube runs out of money, the ecosystem collapses, and they just shoot themselves in their own foot. They are not TikTok. It doesn't work that way. They're not Instagram. It's a programming channel. It's a content channel. It's not a blip-avert channel. So they frantically hauled on the brakes, reined in shorts content, reined in AI content, and now we're starting to see it go sort of back to normal and reach an equilibrium. It is a constantly changing format, of course, but there you go. So now the strategy that I and a number of other long-time YouTubers have followed is basically just stick to our guns, stick to content that you guys know and love, and push long-format videos as much as possible, with it as authentic as possible. Move away from any sort of AI stuff, AI fronting stuff, as best I can, but I navigate it the same way you do. I source my art from Pinterest and various other places, so I get caught out by things that look legitimate, but it could be AI art anyway. And if it fools me, I try my best. And also, as you've seen this year, I've gotten back into illustration. So I've been illustrating stuff for my RPGs and other people's RPG books, and for merch and stuff. So you'll start seeing shirts and t-shirts and things that are hand illustrated by me. I'm really getting into it and enjoying it. And I've joined up the local D&D club and am now running a campaign of Nimble for some new players. So yeah, it feels good to get back in the table, man, for sure. Super chat for super chat. Thanks, Gadzooks. Hey, nice to see you. More Fiendfolio monsters? Yeah, probably. So I'm liking the complete guide videos because it allows me to really do some deep dive research, which is my specialty, really. So you'll get, I'm certainly not besmirching anybody else who does similar sort of content. Dungeon Dad, Mr. Rex, and Jordan, and various others, Runesmith, and all those guys do fantastic work, but we've all got our own particular vibe. My vibe is interactivity with you, answering every comment and question, answering any campaign questions you might have, and doing deep dive research. So researching all of the different sources across all the different editions, not so focused on just 2024 and 2014 D&D, but also second edition and 3.5 and Savage Species and Beckme and a little bit of Shadow Dark thrown in and some Pathfinder, the living game that the community is playing. So yeah. A T-Virus as a Warlock patron. Man, that's an idea. That would probably work, actually. And of course, I do realize that a lot of people watch my content or in the background while they're painting miniatures or driving to work or trying to go to sleep at night. So I'll continue to maintain the low, chill vibes. I've been really enjoying crafting the music that goes on in the background. Anybody that wants the music that I have in the background of my videos, just message me on Discord and I'll give you the files straight away. No big secret there. I'm not sourcing them from any other thing. I'm just generating them on Suno. Yeah. And since it's a relatively minor part of my video, like they're set at like 2% volume in the background. That's the sweet spot I found after years of trial and error. 2% volume. I'd be happy for people to listen to them at full volume. Work is work, art is art. Yeah. So I've really enjoyed the feedback that I've been getting from everybody when I post my my works in progress and my finished line illustration, because I'm doing it, and it's had a strange effect. It's been drawing people into the channel, and also strangely counting as short content. I don't know why, but what I do is essentially this is how I work. So here's me drawing an Otyugh. I've just got it on a little plastic board here, so I can easily just rest it on my knee, which is why I don't do any drawing on camera, because it's an awful. I hate drawing like that straight on to the camera, and I can't really jiggy it so that the camera's over my shoulder. So I just do the light pencil illustration. You can see the eyes and the mouth and the three legs and stuff, and some basic terrain around it. And it's eating some crystals. He's got a very look on his eyes. And then I grab one of my fine ink tip pens that I got from Temu. And I just usually start with the outline of the limb. Like so. Like so. I just do the outline like that, and then there's a lot of just texture, detail. So I'll just do a little bit of detail so you can see what I'm talking about and how fast I work. And the rest is just cross-hatching. That's why I like the brush tip, because it's very pressure sensitive. And I've got very fine control over what the pen is doing. So I do a combination of cross-hatching, lines, and stippling to make textures like that. So you can see he's got a rough hide on his shoulder there. And that's how I work. It's all just that same technique multiplied many times over the surface. Have I ever tripped an old sword's rein? No, I don't know what that is. Speaking of older editions, have you ever considered looking into spells that didn't make it into 5e? Off the top of my head, there was one called Sticks to Snakes. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, there's a lot, actually. And I do have a lot of, their collections of spells and things, including the Deep Magic series by Kobold Press, which is really interesting. That's kind of not what you meant, but they've got some really good spells in there, the 4 categories. But there's the complete book of magic and various other things, which have got a lot of them. That's the sort of research that I can certainly tackle. Identify spells that didn't make it in. There's a lot, dude. There's a heap. Really, really heaps. How you or any of your play against type like a strong wizard? Yeah, certainly. I really like. I've got a character that I've played a few times called Snicklegrick, and he's a deep gnome cleric of Gelf Darkearth, who technically is an evil god. But he's kind of the emo god of the gnomes. He's Gal Glittergold's resentful brother, kind of like Hades to Zeus, right? And he resents anything that's pretty and beautiful. And he destroys artwork and pretty and beautiful things to essentially hurt the feelings of his brother, who loves everything glittery and gold and beautiful and ornate artwork and stuff like that. Because gnomes are craftspeople; they appreciate gems and things. He won't smash gems or anything because that's where the gnomes think their souls come from. But the thing with Snicklegrick is that he demands sacrifice, emotional sacrifice, not monetary sacrifice, from those that he serves Gelf's magic to, because his god demands it. So he says, I'll heal you and everything, but I need that trinket from your father handed over. And they're like, but this is precious to me. The more precious, the more worthy. And then he takes out a ceremonial broken anvil and he smashes that object right in front of them, flattens it, and offers their grief and pain and torment up to Gelf as a blessing, as his offering. So he's evil, cold, callous, heartless, sarcastic little bastard, but he turns out he's quite powerful. So, yeah. And, they can buy new stuff, but yeah, they end up hiding their trinkets and valuables and pets and well, not pets, but, things that they find precious and emotionally attached to. Yeah, as soon as you start loving that magical +1 dagger a little bit too much, he's like, bring it here. Old Swords Reign is a TTRPG similar to Shadow Dark or Nimble. Check it out if you get a chance. I have so many games sitting on my shelf right now that I haven't even read yet, but I will have a look for it. The idea came to me in a dream. What if Yawl was one responsible for the spell failure of the Grand Spellweaver project? That's entirely possible, yeah. It could also have been Il Sensine or Tharizdun himself. Hard to say. It was a long time. Time for more cheese. Thanks for that extra super chat, Morgan. I don't know what your message was, but thank you anyway. Hey, Chia Tony. AJ, sorry this may be a silly question, but my schedule is all messed up. I know you do a live stuff on Saturdays. Do you have any set schedule? I always notice that the last second when I work. No, I don't have any set schedule. I tried to sort of stick with making, a certain number. I used to do them every weekend, but now it's just sort of like in between videos and when I get a chance. Today I don't have much on. Usually I take a day off after I've made a video. But tonight I've got miniature painting night. So our D&D club has game night every second Monday, and the Monday in between is miniatures painting. So I go in and paint miniatures. We just sit down and chat. Very chill. Gives us an excuse to tackle our pile of shame. D&D fighter finds a battle mech. Yeah. I mean, you're talking... Whoa. Don't take that cheese lightly. You're talking to an old school Rifts player here, man. Robotech. I've also played Battletech. Did not enjoy it. I think I was too young to really appreciate it. Whew, that is some potent cheese. Oh, an interesting thing that happened just the other day. I got burgled, kind of. I have two large gas bottles on the outside of my house that power my hot water. That's all, just the hot water. But they're valuable, and gas prices around the world and everything, is very expensive at the moment. They weren't secured with a chain padlock, just a chain that was hooked onto a thing. That's the way that was set up by the company. The remaining one is now padlocked. They seem to have been disturbed. Stealing my gas bottle was not that bad. Like, it can be replaced. It's annoying, and it's kind of creepy that somebody was creeping around the back of my house. What really annoyed me is that they tried to steal the two ornaments that I had on my porch. One was a metal knight, which was an inheritance from my grandfather. And the other one was a painted stone with a tui, which is a native bird on it, which is from my grandmother. They are irreplaceable. They are valueless. And that was a dirty, low-down, shitty thing to do. Luckily, they got disturbed when they were coming back for the second gas bottle, I think. Because they also left one of their shirts on the ground. It's sitting in an evidence bag in my lounge. I did a bit of CSI, picked it up with a pen, put it into a dry container because it had been rained on. There's definitely their DNA on it, I can assure you. It's a stinky thing. And it's fairly distinctive. And it, of course, shows the size of the person who was on the property. So it could be circumstantial evidence. So I'm going to drop it off at the police station. I informed the police pretty much as soon as the sun came up. They said, how much was it worth? So one of those gas bottles has $139 worth of gas in there, so it's not an insignificant investment. Plus the rental bottles as well. So I'm going to get charged if I have to get another bottle, but I can survive on one for like 5 months. I've got a very efficient hot water heater. Merles is no longer working for Wizard of the Coast. He's an independent operator. And he's in work in the gaming industry, I'm sure. He appears more now on streams and getting interviewed and stuff. I actually thought about interviewing him myself because he's a very clever guy. Yeah, I mean, it's crackheads or meth addicts, essentially, I would say. That's why I was really cheesed off that they tried to steal those ornaments because they're valueless. There's no value to them. So they were just stealing them out of sheer, I don't know, greed. Disrespectful. You're wearing my shirt today. Nice. Yeah, the troll video was super fun to do. I love trolls. They're part of my culture as well. Yeah, the movie Wizards. Yeah, and he pulled out a gun and shot the evil wizard, yeah. I love those riding beasts, the two-legged riding beasts that they rode around on. And they had a kind of a Boba Fett, the bounty hunters had a kind of Boba Fett vibe. Hello, Florida. Send some of your heat this way, Florida. They have a cave troll. Oh, yeah, sorry. Sorry about the adverts. I have no control over when those pop up. Texas. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, my brother's over in Indiana. And he said it was 40 degrees Celsius for a few days there. So damn hot. And not a dry heat. At least in Texas, you got a bit of dry heat. Hopefully. I know in Arizona it's pretty dry. Well, yeah. I mean, you got to be pretty stupid to, steal stuff from a wizard. And I've got one of their shirts, and I know some spells. Not D&D spells, but like old medieval magic. So I know what to do. I don't necessarily have to believe in it, right? But I have a fairly large storehouse of good karma that I build up slowly over time just from not being a shithead and helping out people. And I've noticed that when people do bad things to me, bad things happen to them. So I kind of pity the fools. I pity the fools. And it is, crime is a symptom of society's failings to let them be the monkeys that they want to be. So, their drug use and stuff like that is because they're deeply unhappy people. Happy people don't do drugs. Not seriously, or maybe they do. I don't know. But I find, happy, productive people ain't got time for drugs. And I must say that if I do have a guardian angel, he's a vindictive prick. He does nasty things to people. The northernmost state in the Confederacy. Well, according to my brother, a New Zealander living in Indiana, people have old school ideas there. It's kind of an old school state, but they're just pretty They're pretty like down to earth people, like soul of the earth people, farmers, farming ranches, and this stuff like that. A lot of farmers. Hey, thanks, Yoho. Always appreciate your vids and all the awful horrors you supply me with for my games. Any spoilers for what you have in the works now? Yes. So next up, this is a supporter request, is half dragons. So complete guide to half dragons. This is all of the different types of half dragons you can be. Because I hate generic like Dragonborn and I hate generic half dragons. I like a green half dragon or a crossbreed half dragon. So you could be part chromatic, part metallic, for instance, which means that you can be almost damned anything. This is the thing I keep trying to impress on people. It's like, well, there's true dragons and there's the metallics, the chromatics, and the gem dragons, and then there's the crossbreeds between the chromatics and anything else, because they're always random. They are chaos, right? So, yeah. A cross between a red dragon and a black dragon is not a slightly red black dragon. It is whatever, a cobra dragon, a phase dragon, a ghost-skinned dragon, an invisible chameleon dragon. It's always going to be something completely off the charts. Doubly so if they crossbreed with metallics. It'd be random, and usually sterile. Mind Flayer finds out why being psychic in Warhammer 40k is a bad idea. Yeah, they would have quite the time. I'm all in favor. I really like the idea of the astral plane being the warp, right? Why not? Because they sent Spelljammer into the astral plane instead of the phlogiston, and so they had the perfect opportunity to say, well, we're going to do some crossovers with Warhammer 40k, and we're going to bring in, Chthon and Zench and Nurgle. Oh, I'd love to have Nurgle in D&D. We basically kind of got Nurgle. We've got Zugtmoy, the goddess of fungus, and we've got Jubilex. Jubilex or Deweyblix, depending on whether you're playing Pathfinder or D&D. We don't really... I guess we don't really have a god of rot, do we? We've got Zugtmoy, but she's fungus specifically. And we've got Orcus, and he's undeath. You could say that Grast and Zench are fairly similar. In a way. They're both hedonistic gods with a lot of magic and persuasion. But we don't really have a Nurgle. And we've got a lot of combat gods, but they're nothing really of the magnitude of Khorne. The filthy archdevil. Yeah, that's pretty close. You mean the big slug dude? Slanesh. Oh, what was I saying? I was saying Zench. Yeah, no. Yeah, you're right. Slanesh is the Grast. Yeah. My mistake. Box of rocks. Yeah. I cast brick. When a mummy gem dragon and a black dragon love each other very much, they rub their cloacas together. I'm not saying that they have schlongs until Bad Dragon sponsors me. If in doubt, it's got a cloaca. That's what I say. Pocket sand, yeah. Highly effective. Will the in-universe narration return? That's a very good question. As one of my favorite things on this channel. Oh, yes. I can sort of afford to do it now because the channel's sort of on the rise again. And what I would like to do is start doing some actual novels. I'm now at a point where I think I could actually publish some fantasy novels. So I've spent the last 2 years, I think, thinking about the world setting that I'm going to set the novel in. And I've talked about that in the past, talking about making it into an RPG. But I thought, no, what I really want to do is I want to write stories in there. So I'm just going to present it as a novel series. And yeah. I don't know if we'll see the Sage of Candlekeep, narrating big long bits at the start. I'll probably shift the narration more to the ends of the video. How does that sound? So you'll still get the narration, but it'll be at the end of the video. So the people who want to get the information up front, get the information straight away. Like you'll notice I just dive straight into the videos these days. There's not a lot of preamble, and I get right into the topic. Although I take my time, I don't punch out details to overwhelm people. I want it to be relaxing. But yeah, I'll save that to the end of the video. The example I have there is the promotion that I did with the promoting my shop and the products and stuff. That was at the end of the video, and it was more well received than if it was in the middle or at the start of the video, because if you're stuck around to the end of the video, there's a good chance you don't mind watching the last little bit. Nobody's going to click off at the very end of it. It's a bit petty. But, so it'll be a good incentive for people to watch all the way through or skip to the end of the video. Either way, you'll still get it. Plus, you'll have a better understanding, I guess, of the monster after I've talked about it for 20 minutes. And then when I'm narrating the Sage encountering it, you'll get his perspective as well. Is summon phase spell affected whilst in the Feywild? Yeah, it depends on where you are, though. So remember that the Feywild is morphic, and it warps to the story, the narrative. So it's narrative physics. So what if you're trying to summon something, it's going to be heavily influenced by the narrative that you've keyed and triggered. So let's say you're in an area that Baba Yaga is active in. She turns the entire forest into her domain. So the trees warp, the pathways twist. Objects that are known to be associated with her mythology appear. To her, they're always permanent. It's just the terrain shifts and changes around her, but her forest is always her forest. It travels with her, much like the legendary zone of a dragon. The regional effects. Well, with Baba Yaga, she's such a potent Fey Lord that her story warps the terrain around her. So if you're summoning something, you've got a much better chance of summoning something which is associated with Baba Yaga. So it can be a half troll or something like that would be much more likely, or a hag. So if you play along and your DM really understands what you're intending to do, say to them, look, if I play into if I summon what is most potent in the area, it might give me a clue as to what Fey Lord is operating and what the narrative constraints of that Fey Lord are. Because if I summon something and I get a really powerful troll, when I was just aiming for like a Tressum or something, then there's a good chance that it's Baba Yaga, or if you can have an interactive role play with your DM that way, and the rules start getting a bit wobbly around the edges because you're in agreement that that's a cool thing for narratively to happen. That's D&D. Don't be a slave to the rules when the story is, when you're having a good time. So yeah, I would say it's definitely affected, and also affected in the real world when powerful Fae are present. So it'll just be a magic. It'll be a boost to your summoning because the barriers are down or very narrow. Yeah, hag mum. Spiky beard. Actually, I think they naturally separate down the sides there because I've got a gap in the middle. So I'd probably have them plaited, unless you're talking about somebody else. Yeah, I do enjoy those narrations, but they're a love them or hate them sort of situation for people listening. I understand this, and when your channel's under threat, you have to go very generic in your content. Yeah, it's definitely winter in Kiwi land. It's as winter as it gets, really. There's a big dusting of snow down the South Island at the moment, and lots of -5, -9 temperatures centigrade at night time. It's been a really, really, really wet winter. Just insane amounts of rains. Along the East Coast, they had 4 months worth of rainfall over a weekend, to give you some idea of how torrential the rain is, and it's just washed out major roads and things. Are you guys talking about the weather? Oh yeah, good question. About the secrets video. Yeah, the first world. So remember that the D&D universe, because of time travel and gods doing weird things, and particularly primordial beings and things, resetting the timeline quite often, and people going back in time and changing the timeline. There's more than one D&D material plane. That's why we talk about the prime material plane. So the non-prime material planes are ones that have been rewritten. So they're cut off from the main timeline, for instance. The perfect example of that is the Lachey. The Lishi are detached from time. They're not in their original universe. They got Rick and Morty'd out of it. So they could return to their homeland, but it's not their actual homeland. And it's quite possible that there's duplicates of them walking around who are native to this prime material plane, but they've got duplicates from other timelines who are now walking around, which is an interesting sort of reflection of what dragons do, killing alternate versions of themselves in alternate realities. So the Lachey possibly would hunt down and kill their duplicates as well and take over their thing. Maybe that's a part of their culture. But Larian, yeah, I'm sorry I can't understand half of the things you're saying. Yeah, the Lachey are interesting. I realise that when I say Lachey, I'm pronouncing them completely wrong. It's Lachey. French got long legs? What? Is there a book over Lolth's Warrior? I don't know. Dragon Tales equals myth. There can only be one. Yeah. Frog dragon. That's an interesting idea. I don't think I've seen a frog dragon. I keep meaning to do a slime. I'm going for another piece of cheese. They're getting bigger and bigger because I'm slicing across the wedge. God help me. Look at that. Marbling. Permeated the entire thing. Would you believe I've never seen a Dragon Tales cartoon? Froghemoth. Woo. Lordy, lordy, lordy. That cheese is so sharp it's made my nose run. Holy moly. Wow. That's a powerful stuff. White chocolate? Definitely not. The Public Broadcasting Service. I think DM Scotty actually worked in PBS. A conehead race would be cool. Yeah, we really need some like ultra logical nerdy. Now that elves have gotten ruined. I'm still reeling over 2024 getting rid of half races, like half elves and half orcs. I'm like, are you fucking insane? Like, where the fuck the entire thing, like I made a video explaining the clearly documented lore about where the bardic tradition comes from in the Forgotten Realms. If you cannot get rid of half elves without completely abolishing the origin story of where bards come from in the Forgotten Realms. The harpers makes no sense whatsoever. Those who harp. Why do they harp? Dunno. They just picked a symbol out of the air. Got no symbology or deep meaning in the setting whatsoever now because we got rid of the half-elves. So all of that just got wiped away. It's like you complete and utter fucking morons. Whose bright idea was that? Oh, they're problematic. You know what's problematic? That. Abolishing 50 years of literary history. That's what's fucking problematic. Unbelievable. So, yeah, bring back half-elves. Thank you very much. Or just ignore that shit. And half-orcs too. Absolutely. And they've still got mongrel folk and stuff like that. Fuck's sake. Crazy. Yeah, no, it's true. The Forgotten Realm gods are hands-off. They've been specifically told to be hands-off by an overgod. Whether the overgod is a Mystara immortal or not, we don't know. Or maybe there's something else going on. I'm of the opinion that Ao is like an immortal of Mystara, but he's not really a member of the hierarchy. He's involved with something else. He might have been a really high level, like warlock of a Drayden or something like that. Something really weird. But he seems to be an immortal rather than a god. So he's actually more powerful than a god. If you look at the, AJ's guide to the cosmos, that's the ranking system. Yeah, because the whole, in a nutshell, really, if you are as a mortal being with a soul, you have the potential to elevate yourself beyond the universe that you're in, to become a conceptual a hyperconceptual being, a hyperdimensional being, a great old one, essentially. And the purpose of the prime material plane is to generate and breed, essentially, more old ones that can create other universes. The gods, because they are of the universe and can't separate themselves from the universe, therefore don't have the potential that a mortal does, which is amazing when you think about it. And they require the energy and attention and focus of the mortals in a transformative plane where thought becomes real to survive, because they are conceptual entities. So they are thought made real, their belief made real. And if the source of that energy, that disruption, that vibration goes away, then the plane returns to a static state and they wink out of existence. So they require worship to survive. It's like if you're walking through a pond and the ripples that you create become sentient, that's the gods. If you stop walking through the pond, the ripples stop, so do they. It's that simple. The point of going to an outer plane when you're a soul is to become one with the ripples. And if you go from being a petitioner, like a slightly disruptive ripple, and then as you progress as a petitioner through the layers of Celestia or deeper into the heart of Yizgard or whatever plane you're on, you start to conform to the plane and become one with the ripple until you reach the apex and join with the ripple's peak and basically realize at that point, oh, I was part of this god all along. Whoomp, and then you become part of the godhead. So gods are collective entities made up of soul energy rippling through a transformative space, a morphic space. They're conceptual entities. So the idea of killing a god, like it's a physical entity, is ridiculous. You can't. How can you? You can't kill a plane of existence. You can't kill space. You can't kill thought. Well, some beings think you can. Orcus thinks you can. Don't petition, be angelic. Yeah. But that's just my point of view. That's my point of view. That's one take on it, right? It's one that gels with a lot of people because it's of the philosophy that the multiverse has got reasons and rules and underlying structures and things like that. You certainly don't have to play it that way. You can play that each plane of existence is like an alien dimension. It doesn't really matter in the end. But if you like my way of thinking and looking at it as a grand theory as to how the D&D multiverse works and why it works the way it does and how the great old ones are involved and stuff, and look at all the different elements of it, it's pretty elegant. It's pretty cool. It's the deep lore. I like the idea of picking up the profane book and reading from the pages and, giving the player this existential crisis because you reveal to them secrets like that, And then they turn around and they say to their cleric friend, "Your god is just a ripple in a pond." And he's like, "What? Heretic?" Thanks, Butlerian Haderon. Would I put aboleths before Baneloths in age? Tricky again, because the whole time travel thing. Yes, I think I would put the aboleths first. But it's tricky, because, yeah, I think I would, because if the Baneloths are native to the Outer Planes and generated by the Outer Planes didn't exist until slightly later than the Prime Material Plane. But I'm not really sure about that either, because some of the planes of existence, the outer planes like Acheron and stuff like that, they seem like building blocks, like shipyards that you build planets in. So I don't know. Morena, Random Bucket. Kia ora, bro. Nice to see a bit of Te Reos being spoken. Oh, the moles. Yeah, the moles. Yeah, it's interesting how half-dwarves are treated. In the Forgotten Realms, half-dwarves look so similar to dwarves that they just fold into dwarven society, generally speaking. They're slightly taller, but they are pretty much the same as dwarves. Very strong DNA, the dwarves. In Athos, of course, they are a subpopulation from slave groups that were crossbred for labor camps and stuff. So darker sort of selective breeding there. And in other settings, I'm not too sure. There's something on the tip of my brain that I read recently, but I can't tell you what it was. Yes, I do have the new TMNT book. It is right there. And the other one is right there. So I did back the Kickstarter to get those hardcovers. Mainly to support the artists. And, you know, it's my childhood. That's what I cut my teeth on. So I love TMNT. Yep, I played at Neverwinter Nights quite a lot. The good side about Neverwinter Nights is the ability to make your own levels and just keep playing continuously, and the community that built up around building modules that you could keep playing with. Some of them were better than the main game. The downside was that you could create a level and then transfer a character from that level to another module, and if you stocked that module with like super powerful weapons that were very easy to attain, then you could just equip yourself with god level explodey stick swords and just devastate everything in your path, which is what my girlfriend at the time did, because she didn't like any sort of game which challenged you. She just basically wanted to walk through killing everything. So I made her explodey sticks, and yeah, she enjoyed that. And to be honest, it is kind of enjoyable just watching her character just go book, and the thing just go pfft. But yeah, that was the downside of the game, that you can make it non-challenging. Kirk Holland, what are you rambling about? Are you on the sauce, bro? Are you knocking back a few? Or are you just having fun with prose? Writing a bit of beat poetry in my comments. No skin off my nose. You're not offending anybody. Yeah, I was having a chat with another old school role player about Palladium, and how people who have been playing Palladium for many, many years and played it during its heyday have a very different attitude towards the crunch and the rules mechanics of Palladium than people who are looking at it from not having the perspective of played many, many games of it. People who have played Palladium love it. They fucking love it. It's crunchy. It's not the perfect game system, but once you learn it, it's a universal rule system, so it's multiversal, in a time when the only other game to run multiversal games was GURPS. So you got the GURPS camp and you got Palladium. So this was the first time that there was one system that would run everything. Now we're kind of used to that idea. On 5th edition is kind of like that too. You got all these different world settings you can play in and port your characters over from one to the other. You can go from Eberron to Faerun to Athos, no problem. But back in the day, you know, If you wanted to play Traveller, you had to learn the Traveller system. If you wanted to play Paranoia, you had to play the Paranoia system. If you wanted to play something else, you couldn't just take a Traveller character to Paranoia. Or Call of Cthulhu. With Palladium, you can to do that sort of thing. And the game systems have a different sort of vibe when you connect them together. So if you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Heroes Unlimited, with Ninjas and Super Spies, with Beyond the Supernatural, with Nightbane, you get a very different sort of layered options and things that you can throw in there. And yes, the combat is complicated and slow and mechanically dense, but what it represents when you're sitting around the table and you're fully immersed in the game is you're in bullet time. So yes, it may take an hour to resolve a combat, but every nuance of that combat is played out like a kung fu fight that's playing in slow motion. And that's the vibe. That's the vibe. So gunfights, street level heroes and street level fights and kung fu fights and proper martial arts action and random crazy events and military ordnance exploding in downtown malls and leaping through windows and, all that sort of stuff, all the action, hanging upside down from a helicopter while getting, somebody's flinging ex-surplus military grenades at you while you're shooting laser beams out your eyes. That's the sort of action that you can get into. It's wild and crazy, and it's really well suited to it. It had a more realistic damage system and armor system. So your armor got, wiped out in fights and things. So you had to spend money and maintain equipment and all that sort of stuff. Character creation is deep and immersive. There's a very complicated skill system using percentages and stuff that you can use, and a lot of the skills you never use in the game, but they're there just to round out your character. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's maintained its fun this entire time. I still love running it and playing it. So yeah, people who played it. Oh, no sound. I have sound. I can see the sound. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I still do. I just wish more people played it. Maybe if I really want to play it, I should just run some games for people. He might just be trolling me. Oh, I've got to get more centered for my my short feed. Oh, that's a good one. Playing a coalition team running after a bunch of mutants trying to get back to their timeline on old Earth through the ruins of old Chicago. Getting pot shots from some red Borgs bored while they're hunting Zytickets or something. Donatello is underrated. Raphael, yeah, he's all right. Donatello's okay. Michelangelo, though, with the swords. Donatello is pretty peak, though. He's the lone wolf, really. Zerg versus Tyranids. Tyranids. Definitely. Zytickets versus Tyranids. Still Tyranids. Oh, does Leonardo have the swords? What did Michelangelo have? Donatello had the sai. Or am I completely mixed up? Does Michelangelo have the staff? No, Michelangelo had the sai. Nunchucks. Right. Oh, Donatello's got the bow staff. Right. He never not. I never watched nothing. Yeah, me neither. So when I designed Super Atomic, I had that comes from the tradition of Heroes Unlimited and all of that sort of stuff. So it's a very street level sort of game. You don't play super powerful characters, although you can, because I don't really put a cap on how many major powers you can have. I just give a suggestion, guidelines, and it's a really good street level game. It's all conceptual. It's all theater of the mind intended. It's all just, very rules light narrative game that you can pick up really easily and just play. It's just fun. And if you haven't blown up at least half a city by the end of your session, you're doing it wrong. Half elves speak dolphin. No. Elven sounds Gaelic, essentially. If you look at all of the place names and stuff in the Forgotten Realms and you use a Gaelic accent, so Celtic, Irish, Welsh, it's a lot easier to get the pronunciation right. Dolphins can absolutely see you. Yeah, street D&D. I play street D&D. It's almost time for me to go, folks. Does anybody else have any questions? Can I help with anybody's campaigns? Anybody need any inspiration? Half elves are the reason that humans and elves haven't genocided each other. No, they're basically, well, there are certainly a bunch of elves, particularly around the Shining Sea, like in Lapalago, and at the end of the Shah, and sort of between the Lake of Steam and the Mere Jungles. That's where you get the elven extremists who will just take pot shots. They'll take headshots at humans that they see because they just hate them. They hate them. But you could say a large part of the reason the elves haven't been genocided is because they've retreated in fear of their own potential for destroying themselves. Don't forget, the Crown Wars was hundreds of years of absolute trauma. So elves have got that never again sort of vibe going on. And they look at what humans are doing and they want to stick around and help humans to avoid making the same mistakes they did. Which brings into question the whole, why did the Iolani elves teach the Netherese magic? Why? Why? Because they saw that they were worshipping the same gods. That's why. It's always religion. That's true. Splinter did. Sorry for getting old, but for you, put any civilization timey-wimey before the Aboleth, Spellweavers, Drayden. Yeah, the Drayden. So before reality really solidified, the Drayden were moving around chaotic space. And this is where the Beholders and the energy, the Zag Yi and Zag Yin, and various other energy beings will have frolicked and have a lot of fun. Beholders are basically built to withstand multiple membranes of reality. So they exist in a state of crossing between portals with membranes of reality that are narrow. So they can withstand a lot of external forces, and they can use their I-beams and things to both navigate, see, and propel themselves around. So sometimes it's very useful to have anti-gravity or anti-magic or whatever. So if you were role playing a situation where your characters are plunged into the heart of the plane of fire, for instance, a beholder may just save their life by using its cold beam, for instance, to create a navigation window that they can all race after it. You know, use it like a shield. And you realize then, oh, beholders are basically environmental juggernauts. They can handle any sort of planar environment. So you can find a beholder anywhere. Yeah, no wonder they're insane. Yeah, yeah. So they're able to look into other realities with 10 eye stalks and see all those realities at the same time and make sense of it. So they've got big brains, but they're very chaotic. And they have very, very strong egos because they need to withstand madness. So they're kind of insane by default, but, you know, they've got an absolute assurance of themselves. They're, you know, maniacal. I certainly liked bringing, like tardigrades. I certainly like bringing the traps into that beholders, into the kobolds video. Well, this is the thing: the great old ones are always in charge because they can just, you know, he who can destroy a thing controls a thing, so they can just switch off the D&D reality like that. Just end program, end the sim, but they don't because it's still producing viable immortals. The great clarifications. I'll take that. Thank you very much. Yeah, souls of spice. I'm still waiting for the. Is that new Dune? Yeah, no, they haven't brought out the last Dune movie, have they? Still waiting for that. I'm bummed my dad didn't get to see it before he passed because we were Dune fans. Look, we went and saw Dune, the original David Lynch Dune, in the movie theater. I am the old. This Christmas, excellent. Christmas is coming. Save up to buy a big load of merch. Make my day. Does anybody have any particular thing that they'd like me to make merch wise? Any image that I've been posting in the community that they'd like to see on a shirt or a hat or something? Or a mug? The cheese is a bit milder towards the end, which I suspected. Tardigrade divas of the Outer Realms. It's a great line. A wizard with a vape pen. Acorn dragon. Yeah, I was thinking about doing prints, like a framed print or something. I could probably manage that. Oh, thanks, Jared. Yeah, it was a long time coming. Don't worry, I'm not a person that mourns things. You know, life goes on. On a shirt, picture of the Clockwork Horror and the line "They are coming." Hand over your mechanics. Resistance is futile. D&D dwarf opinion of dwarf slayers. Thanks for the super chat. I don't know what that means. What's a dwarf? Do you mean like dwarf or dragon slayers? It's not the gnomes you're looking for. Oh, really? Ascended from a spark from an earth primordial. He chose undeath as his domain. And earth. His worshippers are, of course, cheesemakers. Yeah, you could certainly play a bunch of dragons playing a TTRPG. They're smart enough for it, for sure. Yeah, the Beholder Eaters do exist. They do look like deep spawn. Yeah, it's true. I'd like to see a representation of every class with different races. Like on a shirt or something. Interesting. I have tried smoking a pipe. Yeah, I took up vaping to stop smoking weed, and so far I have been successful. Yeah, I've been practicing a little bit of cartography. In fact, I've got. Is that it? I drew a. This is for a module of Fred Wheeler's Pirate Island, the most piratey island I've ever been on. Actually, we ran through a little adventure, me and Wally. You want to see me playing? There's the growl, or beak brain as we call it. I really like the brain detail on that one. Savaging an elf. You can see how much I progressed this year. That was an earlier sketch. Kind of rough line work. Mind you, it is a sort of twisted thing. Still pretty happy about the muscle mummy on the horse. The step pony. With an ogre head. And my interpretation of Wendigo turned out okay. He's a buff Wendigo, that's for sure. They're usually a lot more emaciated. Ah, here it is. So here's my hand illustrated Pirate Island. I like the frame. The buildings I think are a bit rough. I could do a better job of those, but I like the perspective view. And Fred was happy enough with it, so yeah, all good. Little details. I was of two minds whether to draw sea monsters. But yeah. But I like drawing dungeons more than anything. Windy goals. Windiswole. Please, Sir Picaroon, return to your Candlekeep room soon. We're out of rations. Ran out of rations a week ago. Your pseudo dragon and I are fighting off the leftovers and remain rats. Sincerely, the Nothic. Well, you know, I left you in charge of the place. I gave you the recipe for crab cakes and honey buns. just go and talk to the beekeepers and get some honey. Don't worry about the pseudo dragon; he can take care of himself. It's almost his breeding season anyway. He'll be fine. He's an independent operator. He handles being without me all summer anyway. No, I'm not a person who should or will smoke weed ever again. I do silly things when I smoke weed. I turn into a person I don't like. So, me and weed are not friends. I'm just one of those 1 in 10 people who, shouldn't smoke weed. Plus, I don't do as much work when I smoke weed, so you don't want me smoking weed either. Video debating whether necromancy is good or evil. Only in cosplay. Obsidian kobolds. That does sound pretty cool. Yeah, I like the idea of deep kobolds, like from the deep Underdark. They've never seen the surface. In fact, in my Nimble campaign, the dwarves that they're going to encounter have never met humans or elves before. They've never been to the surface. The surface to them is like the top of Mount Everest. Wendigo's my uncle. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all of the super chats. Very much appreciated. Makes me feel good. I've not eaten the entire block of cheese. In fact, I think it's medically advisable not to. But I'm going to enjoy it later. I'm at a loss. Finished War of the Spider Queens and love the Underdark. Any recommendations? Yeah, write your own book. The was it the second edition? I think it was second edition or 3.5 edition Underdark book is one of the best source books that's ever been produced for D&D. Actually, it's just a joy to read. I'm not too sure about. I would basically ask an AI to tell you which novels feature a lot of Underdark stuff. I know the Driss series don't really go into the Underdark very much unless they're going to Menzoberranzan. But that's just like a tiny sliver, and they don't really do any sort of trekking through the Underdark. It's just like 1 minute he's on the surface, then he's at the entrance that leads to Menzoberranzan, and then the journey there is just skipped over, which is the narrative, right of the author. But I think it missed out on a lot of opportunity to talk about a major aspect of the Forgotten Realms. 3 currently a scene. Body slumped in the chair, 3 crumbs of cheese left on the plate. Strange smell in the air. Start digging. Yeah, I really need to make more videos about the topography and features and terrain and stuff and nations of the Underdark. I also want to make a video about the trade routes around around all of Faerun, Greater Faerun. Like if you want to get from A to B, what's the ship going to be loaded with that you're on, for instance? Yeah, because that all got charted in 2nd edition and 3.5 or 3rd edition. Thanks, Volt. People at the kitchen got a bit scared of my appearance. Apparently, they're not used to Nothics walking around freely on these lands. It's true. I do have a lot of leeway, not being a member of the Order and everything. I'm not one of the avowed. But, yeah. I mean, you might get a crossbow bolt to the back of the head. There's not much I can do about it, dude. So be a little bit circumspect. Yeah, I've got a soft spot for the Myconids as well. Oh, Out of the Abyss. Nice. Yeah. No, I'll just sit there and vape with you. I don't mind you smoking weed with me. I'm just, I'll enjoy a nice single malt or something and vape. If I do ever visit America where it's a legal state, if I go to Gen Con, I won't be because it's not legal over in Indiana to in any way smoke weed or possess weed or sell weed. Although I imagine a lot of people turn up to Gen Con like with tons of gummies and stuff from out of state. Don't, because you can get like jail time for that. 150 days. Yeah, but if I ever went to like California or something like that, again, I'd probably partake just as part of the holiday, and when in Rome. If I was around at somebody's house, But yeah, every day, no. Anyway, all right, enough of that. Yeah, it's legal in Michigan. God, it certainly should be. You guys need everything you can get. Oh yeah, I'm not getting into that debate. We all know it was absolutely ridiculous. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be criminalized. No drugs should really, apart from like really harmful ones. But organic stuff that grows in the ground. The nail was in the coffin when the Bible Belt people said, "What have you got a problem with one of God's creations?" It's like, oh, whoops, yeah. Now the fundamental Christians are telling you, don't outlaw one of God's plants. You can't just exterminate one of his creations. Whoops, lost the Bible Belt. There goes your conservative base. Yeah, whoever came up with that talking point deserves a Nobel Prize. Okay, see you later, everybody. Thanks for joining me.